peeps, so this is a first. I am actually going to talk to you and design for a little while. So I bought these 49th and Market Sizzix stamps and framelits from a Cherry on Top, and I wanted to design with them, and I thought they were the perfect solution to my disdain. It's not disdain. Mixed media is messy and I'm not a messy person. So I thought they would be perfect because you could stamp and die cut and get that result. Yeah, well, that was my result. And the perfectionist in me just didn't like that. No, that was not going to work for me. I don't like the over stamping. And so I am going to show you how to get this result. Isn't that better? So yeah, you still have to do a little bit of mixed media. I also use some of this Snowfall Grip Paste. Can you see the little sparkles? I'm not sure. Let me see if I bring it up a little closer if you can see those sparkles there. So I am going to actually do this smaller one first. This is one of the few times that I will die cut first and then stamp. And the reason why, so this one worked fine where I stamped first and then die cut. This one I ended up having to fussy cut myself because these stamps slide. So this is where I would definitely recommend die cutting and then stamping, and I'll show you how we get this result as opposed to actually stamping and getting that result. So you do not need these. Well, you are welcome to use them if you want, but if you're fuzzy like me, this is what you're gonna do. So this is a piece of Vicki Boutin mixed media paper. I am going to run it through my die cut machine, which I could put on my table, but I'm not going to because it has a home over here. So I am working off camera, I'm sorry. But there is what that is going to look like. All right, and then you are going to grab your Misty, if you have a Misty, because those are supposed to be the only ones. I do not have a Misty, but I do have something else that I am going to use because I bought this long before the Misty existed, and I'm going to set that on there. And what's difficult about this is, and so what I did last time, was I actually left it in the paper, okay? Because that way you can use your magnets to keep the paper down. And then I'm going to get my stamp. So I just want the outline, okay? And I'm going to line up the outline on that die. So see how it definitely shifts. And it's not a big deal, but if you're a perfectionist like me, it is a big deal. So then we are going to do that. Make sure that is on there, okay? And we're going to ink that up and make sure you use a permanent ink because you are going to be using water with colors. I used these distress watercolor pencils. So ink that up nice and good. Push it down. And then, oh, you got these things. I always forget that I have it. There you go. And voila, that is nicely lined up. It's not perfect, but it's good, right? Okay, so then get that out of your way and clean your stamp. There we go. All right, so we're going to get these things out of the way. And now we're going to work on adding color to that. So I have my very fancy jar of water, Smucker's apricot jam, maybe, I don't know. And I actually like to not work directly on my surface because if water gets on there. So this is just the packaging from the stamps. And then I also like a piece of paper towel. So there's a piece of paper towel, and I do the berries first. So I don't remember what numbers these are. I have set 1 and set 3 of the Distress watercolors. I'm going to use Candied Apple, whoops, for the berries. So what I do is I just dip it in there, and then I'm going to just draw in the berries, and it's very bright, not water color looking color right now. So then what I do is take the tip there. I might have a cat, oops, joining me. Not sure if you heard that crash. And then we're just going to pick up some of that brighter color that's less watercolored, and there are the red berries. So then I'm going to put that away. And the reason I have both of these is because I'm leaving those palette plates there. I'm gonna just peel them off. I like this lighter green. So this is from set 2, and this is Twisted Citron. I'm gonna do the light first, and then I'm gonna use this Rustic Wilderness from must be set 3, because I said I have 2 and 3. So I want to make sure I get, yeah. So you can kind of see how, right, there's a lot of water on there. And if I don't want all of that water, I can just pick it up with the edge of that paper towel there. But I kind of like the look of the puddled water when it dries. So just gonna go in and do my light color first, and then I can always go over the add that darker color into those puddles in there. And so as those puddles dry, you can see you get that sort of watermark line there, which I really like. It's not everybody's thing, but I do like that. And then don't forget that these twigs also have, there we go. Okay, so you can see there where I picked up the color. You can see there where I didn't pick up the color. So now I am going to fold this again, get a corner, and pick up some of that color there. I like the white left in it, just as the actual stamps. If you use the stamps, you would get some white in there as well. So I'm intentionally leaving that white space there. So that is your Twisted Citron, okay, as your lighter color. Then I'm going to go to my darker color and use Rustic Wilderness. Exact same thing. I'm just going to dip it in there, and you're going to see how this bleeds in, right? Oh, isn't that awesome? I really like that effect. And I pulled up that puddle there, so I'm just going to, there we go, create a darker green puddle. And I don't like that. So I'll pick it up or soften it, dampen it with that paper towel there. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, to me, I am overlapping colors like the stamps are, but it's a controlled overlap. And it, I don't know, it makes me happier than the look that I got on the other stuff. So you got to do what works for you, right? But that, I think, my friends, is going to, yeah, pick up. I think I like that. And I think I'm going to leave that to dry. You can get your heat gun to dry that. Actually, I don't like that there. So I'm going to go back with my Twisted Citron and see if I can cover that back up or blend it in a little bit better. There we go. But I'm keeping my white that's there. You could also get this super wet and you could knock on some sprays onto there, but I think I'm going to leave that for now. And then I'm going to take my grit paste, Snowfall. Once that's dry, I'm literally just going to stick my finger in, and then here, I'll show you on this. Did I do? And then just, yep, and then set that side aside to dry. You could use a palette knife if you were so inclined, but it just leaves glitter on there. And then I'm going to use those as elements on my layout, which I am not going to do live because I don't like doing that. So hang in.
First things first, let me start off by apologizing for the sound. When I bent over to do the die cutting, it moved my mic, and that then covered my shirt over my mic, which then dulled the sound. I tried turning the volume up, so if there was something that you missed, please be sure to ask, because I did the best that I could to try and fix it, given that I was actually talking for once. So what I'm doing here is I am creating a block of the photos. So I've got a 6x4 and then two 4x3s. One is horizontal, one is vertical, and I'm intentionally going off the edge of the page there. So I've gone whole hog with mixed media, so I figure why not just do it all, right? So I have some texture paste and a stencil here. This is translucent texture paste, so it dries clear, shiny and clear, and I am using a Tim Holtz mini stencil. It's set number 54, and I'm using the pine cones and pine boughs. And the reason for that being that I know I want to use something different other than the holly leaves, and then I've already got the poinsettias up the top, so I thought this would just add some nice variety of texture to it. It's super subtle, you cannot see it. In fact, even in the close-ups, unless it's catching the right light, it's really hard to see, but it does add a really fun layer. So little tip here, if you've got mixed media wetness, you know, like these pastes, that is press and seal. And that's coming from Tim Holtz's mouth himself. It definitely makes it last a lot longer. So you can see that I have this block, and I know I want to use this red piece of pattern paper from Simple Stories. This is the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Yuletide collection. I have those two pieces of pattern paper. So super simple. That is all I am using for pattern paper. There's a lot in both of them, and the way that I've combined them sort of to pull them together, just you really don't need a whole lot more than that. There are people who mat their photos, but that is not me. So yeah, this paper is actually designed to go in a different direction, but I wanted it to go horizontally up the top to create a header. And so yes, the words are crawling up the page, but I don't really care. It's subtle and you can't really tell unless you look up close, and now you know because I've drawn your detail to it, right? Your attention to it. So I have three clusters. I have this larger cluster, and I'm going to put that down the bottom because it creates balance between that header of poinsettias up the top and then the little footer at the bottom right over there, that cluster, that built-in cluster, pre-printed cluster. And I want a little bit of this brighter green to just sort of pop the reds and those, I'm going to go with more distressed greens that are in that pattern paper there. So I am going to use this whole sheet, even though I'm going to cover the top 2/3 of it. I could have paper pieced it, but I'm looking at my room, and it's just ridiculous the amount of paper that I have than the stuff that I've saved. So unless I know I have a use for it, I just got to do it. Cover it up. There's no, right? Like I thought, oh, but that red is so cool. I could use it to cut out a title. Nope, nope. You don't need it, Susanna. Just go. So I like the just the torn paper look and how that adds just to the distress, to the vintagey feel of the simple vintage. And so then I'm going to piece that down, and yes, the texture paste is still wet, but I am impatient, and so I am just working around it. And actually the beauty of that is that some of the elements that I want to put down, especially the acetate pieces, they just go straight smushed into that texture paste, which is awesome. So each of these three pieces are going to have foam backing them. I will spare you the agony of watching me do that with all three of them. And so all three have foam, adding dimension to the page. It also gives me space to layer some other die cuts in that you'll see. So I have these acetate pieces from 49th and Market, and that is the Evergreen collection. So I'm going to sprinkle in a few of those, just a little bit of added foliage. I also have some of the laser cuts that I will use as well. The layout could be fine as it is now, but sometimes I just like to take it that one little step further. I also really wanted to pull a little bit more of the white into the design as well, just for quote-unquote white space. Just I like that contrast of color. So you'll see this is one where I literally just smush it right into that texture paste, and it dries there, and it is not a problem, which is kind of cool. So this acetate piece, I love the way that those bough branches work with the line. Think of the lines in your layout. So Jasmine's paws are going from top right to bottom left, and so that line of the bow as well as the line of the pine boughs moves in that same direction. So there's continuity in the movement of those lines rather than sort of bouncing down the page. Now there's nothing wrong with bouncing down the page. You can hear me talk about that sometimes too, but this is a contiguous line because of that grid of photos and that photo blocking that I've done there. So ahead of time, I have cut some, those are Spellbinders, I'm fairly certain. One is actually Tim Holtz, and the other are Spellbinders dies. I have tons of foliage dies because I like to do this. I like to go in and add extra. Just, again, it's movement and texture on the page that is something that I like. It's not for everybody, but it's something that I like. So small detail, but that leaf that I fussy cut knowing I wanted it to come over the edge didn't quite gap perfectly. So that label there closes off the gap, and it gives me somewhere else to write because I end up doing my journaling directly down below that photo block there. But so I wrote Jasmine and November 29th, 2024. So this was us we had just decorated the tree, and of course as we pull out the Christmas decorations, we also pull out the Christmas cat outfits, and yeah, Luna was nowhere to be found, so Jasmine got subjected to it, and these are the pictures of her giving us her bah humbug look, and that will actually end up being the title of this page. Poor cat. I think this is maybe the 4th, 5th year that we've subjected her to this. There are a few other outfits. One is a reindeer, a Christmas tree hat or something like that. But I don't know, there's something about the red that's just really cute. So I also have some foam stickers from Simple Stories that I will use, and that is going to be it. Yeah, so I use this Tim Holtz die. There's a lot of Tim Holtz on this page with the 49th and Market, and the bah humbug. So again, I will spare you the agony of watching me adhere them using liquid adhesive with the fine tip nozzle. Is the best way to go with these things. So I'm going to do that, and it's not in a straight line, and they slightly overlap, but it's okay because it goes with the bah humbug. I also like that I did it with the brown because that coordinates with the brown in Jasmine. She's got brown she's a brown tabby. So that'll wrap it up, my friends. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Come back again soon. Take care.